hero, and occasionally save the world. So why can't I sleep?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2013 Marvel sequel, Iron Man 3. The film is co-written and directed by Shane Black, and it stars Robert Downey Jr., Guy Pearce, Gwyneth Paltrow, Don Cheadle, Rebecca Hall, Jon Favreau, and Ben Kingsley. Now this time round, Iron Man is going up against the Mandarin, or is he? He is, this time round, he calls out the terrorist, the Mandarin, after his best friend, Happy Hogan, is injured in an explosion. His home is attacked, he is then stranded without a suit, and he's got to try and figure out who is the Mandarin and how he can stop him. And this Mandarin may have a very strong link to Guy Pearce's character, Aldrich Killian, who is the head of AIM. Right, what are my thoughts on Iron Man 3? Well, I remember when this came out, everybody was super excited. It was just after the Avengers film that was an absolute smash hit. This was another absolute smash hit, directed by one of my favourite directors, Shane Black. The Nice Guys that he did several years ago, in my opinion, is an absolute masterpiece. I think he's an incredible director when he's got the right material. I think when he's got like studios breathing down his neck, it kind of strangles his creativity, as we saw with the Predator film. A little bit here as well. And this came under a little bit of criticism when it came out. For, if you like, I think a lot of people felt a little bit conned by this film. Obviously, there's going to be some spoilers here, guys. So if you've not seen Iron Man 3, then you need to stop watching at this point. You know, the whole dangle of the carrot of the Mandarin, which is a legendary villain in the Iron Man comics. And they cast Ben Kingsley, and everybody thinks Ben Kingsley's the Mandarin, and then that swerve near the end of the film where he's actually an actor called Trevor Slattery. I think a lot of people felt a bit duped by that. I personally absolutely loved it. I think it's one of the best scenes in all of the Marvel films, the scene with Ben Kingsley when he's revealed as the actor Trevor Slattery. I just think it's absolutely fabulous. And with Guy Pearce's Aldrich Killian being the true villain of the piece. To me, it makes absolute sense. I think it would have been too easy just to have the Mandarin in this film. I thought the whole swerve and twist really worked for me. And I really also liked the part that they kind of stripped Tony Stark down to the bare bones, really. He's left pretty much gadgetless at one point in the film when his home is attacked by, the Mandarin stroke Aldrich Killian. And he's left stranded in Tennessee, sort of thing, with a suit that doesn't work anymore and relying on the help of a young kid. It shows his resourcefulness, and we get to see how resourceful Tony Stark is, and we see a vulnerable Tony Stark in this film because he's suffering with panic attacks after what happened at the end of the Avengers film when he kind of was sucked into the kind of wormhole sort of thing. So we see a different Tony Stark in this film. We have always known he's flawed, but now we see him vulnerable in this film, and he has to kind of use every resource he can get his hands on to get to the truth. And I think he does a really fabulous job, Robert Downey Jr. Again, he absolutely owns this character of Tony Stark. He is Tony Stark. And you get to see all the different layers of him in this film, the cockiness, the one-liners, the vulnerabilities. You get to see it all here. And it's a great performance, I think, by Robert Downey Jr. And I think a lot of people might sniff and raise their eyebrows, serious critics at the Marvel films, but I think sometimes it's too easy, I think, to mock the films or not to take them seriously, when actually at the very core of Marvel is some very, very strong performances and talented actors bringing these larger than life characters to life, and I think nobody's done that as effectively, I don't think, as Robert Downey Jr. A few of them have come close, but You know, he really has become Iron Man. He's the epitome of Iron Man. And when people close their eyes and visualize Iron Man, what do they see? You see Robert Downey Jr. these days. We get to see the War Machine being repurposed as the Iron Patriot, which was pretty cool, and I love how the fact it's always been made fun of. We get to see more of Pepper Potts in this film. We get to see her kicking ass as well. And we get a pretty explosive end to the film. I think it's a little bit diluted, I think, by all the Iron Man suits that turn up at the end. Is almost too many to count, sort of thing, and it kind of, don't know, it makes the ending feel, you could argue, a little bit messy. And there are moments in the film where it feels a little confused. It doesn't necessarily know what it's doing, and sometimes it feels like some of the action set pieces have just been put in to kind of give us something exciting to watch. For example, the one where all them people fall out of Air Force One and he's got to rescue them all by linking them up. It might look impressive. It might have even been an impressive stunt and cost a fortune to film, but I'm not sure the film needed it, if I'm being particularly honest. I preferred the action in this when it was kind of scoped back. I thought the action scene where he's in the Tennessee town and he goes up against that woman who's got the extremis abilities, and he's got to again rely on his resourcefulness to kind of beat her. I thought that was a better action scene than the huge one coming out of Air Force One. So I think Shane Black was on the right track here by stripping Tony Stark down to his bare essentials, if you like, his bare minimum abilities. So he's got to use his brain to get out of situations. I think that's when we see the absolute best of this film. Guy Pearce, I think, hams up the screen as the villain, Aldrich Killian. We get a pretty good villain here. You can understand some of his motivations, certainly, especially when you get the initial scene at the beginning of the film where he's mocked and ridiculed by the younger Tony Stark in 1999, sort of thing. So you can kind of see where his motivations lie, if you like, the Aldrich Killian character. I thought Jon Favreau's Happy Hogan, was a lot of fun in this film. He doesn't get a lot of screen time in this one, but obviously Jon Favreau wasn't directing this time, so he could just chill out and relax and enjoy his character and his role as Happy Hogan. And Rebecca Hall, again, I don't think she was given enough to do in this film. I don't think her character was particularly well written. And when the twist or swerve comes at the end where, she kind of turns out to be a villain, or is she, sort of thing, it had very little impact on the film, if I'm being particularly honest. But I actually think this is quite a strong entry. Obviously, it's not as strong as the first one. I do think it is very, very watchable, this one. A lot of fun, and could obviously continue to set up the character of Tony Stark that obviously we saw in the follow-up Avengers films that he appeared in. So yeah, Iron Man 3 I think is a strong entry in the trilogy of Iron Man movies. Obviously a massive smash hit, and definitely one that I enjoy revisited. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll be back with more reviews and content on the channel very soon.